North Carolina at the Mayberry Antique Mall. We've been here before. It's been a few years since I've been here, and I need to come back a little bit more. There is a lot of stuff that you might see that you might think I should have picked up, and I didn't because I can't buy everything. But there is some cool vendors in this antique mall that had some comics, some figures, just a little bit of everything, and even hunting some salt and pepper shakers for my lady. She was with me too, but sometimes she wandered off, and I stayed at booths and looked around and filmed for you gangsters out there. I like this Pac-Man game. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't ever remember seeing that, but it was you know, it is what it is, you know what I mean? Got some records and stuff, had to check that stuff out. I always look for that. Did have some bluegrass there, which I'm not into bluegrass, you know that. But anyway, just looking at some cool records and stuff. I did go back and dig through some of this. I didn't want to, you know, keep spinning through every one of them while I'm filming. But I always look at cassettes, mostly country stuff up here. And that's what happens when you go to some of these areas like this. Georgia Satellites, that was pretty cool. Almost, I should have bought that really, but I didn't. You know how it goes sometimes. But yeah, a lot of country stuff, and there is a Ted Nugent one right here. But I think I got this on CD already, so. But not a bad price, I guess. $3 and something. Not too bad at all. Not a lot of Randy Travis and everything. A lot of Coke stuff. Oh my God, my daughter is collecting Coke stuff, and I always film Coke stuff for her to see in my videos because there's a lot of it. Every antique store you ever go to, there's Coke stuff. So if you're into Coke stuff, by God, you can find it. There was old Rousey there looking around, limping around with her boot. We was on our way to Raleigh, North Carolina to go see a doctor, a specialist and stuff for her foot. She's having some issues. That's a whole other video. But yeah, so I was filming and stuff, and she was trying to get around. She ended up having to go to the car a little bit later on. I need to get her a wheelchair. I guess I'm gonna have to start looking, because you can't put a damper on looking through this cool stuff here. You know, you got to get in full effect. She really liked this. She thought I should pick it up. I didn't want to pick it up. I think it was like $25. Old KFC model. Seen better days. It was probably pretty old. I'd say it was probably from the 70s, maybe even the 80s. I don't know, somewhere around there. But yeah, it's seen its better days. They got little trash cans outside and everything. Pretty cool. Everything else, you know, just a mixture of stuff. There's some license plates. You always see them at places like that. And of course, Coca-Cola, more signs and stuff like that. Shot glasses. That's something I don't need to get into. And there's, you know, plenty out there. You know, you got a Dukes of Hazzard car, Ertl car. That was $200 freaking dollars. Yeah, not me. I'd rather, I just keep my little one. But I always find pops everywhere you go. I always just kind of glance and see what they got. I don't really collect them a whole lot. There's some more Coke stuff. I think I bought my daughter that, but see that Coke thing there, the Coke bottle was peeled and thing. But I think I remember getting something like that for her when I went to Florida to see her at an antique booth there. Check out old Granny here. Is she chilling, smiling and laughing? Look at her. Yeah. I don't know what she's pointing at. She had something in her hand. Rousey found this. This is a little Barbie tea set. I think that was from like 1990 or something. We even look at glassware. We look at a little bit of everything. Look at the Winnebago back there. Pretty cool. At first I thought it was maybe salt and pepper shakers or something, but I don't know exactly what it was. But these are the booths I like to go to right here. All the colorful stuff that you see. This guy had a lot of cool stuff. His prices was up and down on some things. Some things was cheap. Some things was a little high. LJN wrestlers, if I didn't have all three of them, I would have bought one or two. Maybe all three of them. I don't know. They were like $15, $20 a piece. Of course, we always find bagged turtles. And sometimes you find a $5 turtle. That one back there in the back was, but that's not one of the, it looked a little newer to me. Just kind of like some of these things and stuff. So I'm trying to stick with the vintage when it comes to the turtles and stuff. But a little bit of horror stuff, a little bit of Migos, loose stuff over here in baggies and stuff. We did pick up 2 figurines for the grandbabies there that they like. I think Fortnite is what they were called. I'm not into that, so I don't know. That guy was really weird. It was like some kind of roach. That one was like $4, but I don't know how new. And he just jumped off and got tired of me. There you go. There's Daniel Boone for $12. If he was cheaper, I would have bought him. But check him out. There's one right there with the magician hat and stuff on. And I'm always looking for these guys. And they were 15. Yeah, 15. Cheaper than Walmart. There's a Hogan one from back in the day. I think he was 20 though. And then we had the old, I remember having that back in the day. That's old, the BCAs, baby, the Jack Pacific Sable and Luna. I remember having that. I think that was like 25. We have the Warrior here, and I already got him, but I wanted to see what price he was. He was $20. There's the Rock. I think he was 15, and behind him was the Earthquake. I think he was like 15 or 22, so kind of around the same prices. Back here in the back, I found a few things. Most of this stuff, I think, was the cartoon He-Man figures, and not too bad a price on them. I haven't really got into getting any. I didn't know if I wanted to buy any because they're like $25 brand new in the store. Well, these was not too bad. I think most of them was only like $12 a piece. It looked like a few, and then there was some other ones mixed in. But I'm kind of really sticking to my vintage Masters Universe stuff. More records and books. You always find some books. There's Rousey looking at some stuff again. And yeah, it's just a little bit of everything. This store actually had a downstairs in it too, but I didn't let her go downstairs because I'd had to probably carry her back up the stairs. But yeah, more books. And I thought that case is different than the one I had. I think Batman Returns. I'm not for sure. I do have one, but I couldn't remember if I had that kind or not. But yeah, a lot of glassware, a lot of, you know, women's stuff and old lady stuff and all that cool stuff. But it was a nice little place to visit. We didn't get to visit too long though. I like this. I've seen that in the stores before. I didn't get to stay too long because we did have to get on down the road, but we were there for about a good 40 minutes probably. And I'm glad we did leave when we did, because we did make another stop. And then the time we made it to the doctor, with traffic and everything, yeah, we barely made it. Wizard of Oz stuff, I always like looking at this stuff. Some of it's a little up and down in price, but be cool to have like a carry-o one day and collect it. Look at the duck. Look at that, Megan. If you're watching, she collects, my daughter collects the little duckies. And there is tons of them out there. Wizard of Oz stuff everywhere right here. Of course, there's some Masters Universe stuff over here. The newer things. And Stranger Things. A lot of the vehicles and cool things like that. Little Gremlins. I like my Gremlin stuff, but I like mainly my vintage stuff. I don't know. I just think it looks better. There's I almost dropped him, I think. There's Play-Doh guy. Now that one's pretty cool. He has a mouth. The ones that has mouths I kind of like better than the ones that don't have mouths, because they all look the same. A lot of them do. This was really old. Charlie's Angels van. I don't know if it was all there or not. I think it was like 45 or 50 bucks, maybe 60, somewhere around there. We have the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs here. And then we have some other things that's just amazing what you can put in a jar and sell. Cars, buttons, marbles, all that kind of stuff. It's a little weird out there. But some glasses here. We had Wimpy from Popeye. I never see that stuff hardly, the Popeye glasses. I almost thought about it. I think it's 15 bucks on it. Show it to Rhonda. She laughed. And that's the Wimpy is the one that eats all the cheeseburgers. That should be me. I looked at some other ones. Pepe Le Pew there. I didn't know if we had one, but she said we already had one, but I don't know if that's the same one or not, because they made so damn many. Most of them was $15 to $18. I'm trying not to pay that much for some of them. Usually I don't like to pay no more than $10. There was another one right here. It says Rough House. This was from Popeye too, and I think I remember Rough House. Would have been cool. If we'd have had a Popeye or Olive Oil or both, I might have picked up two of them, but I don't know. So I'm just looking at some glasses and some mugs and everything else here at this place. Anyway, got John Travolta right there. But yeah, there's just a little bit of everything at this place. I like the Mickey phone, old radios, and NASCAR, and everything else that you can dream of. Now, these Power of the Force were way overpriced, $30 freaking dollars. I can go to toy shows or to actual toy shops and get them from $5 to $10 at the most, $10. Yeah, there's some more Coke stuff. So yeah, some people need to look online when they're selling stuff. Must have been some old guy that don't understand the power of the Force. But yeah, there's some M&M stuff here and 10 signs and everything else you can imagine. And going downstairs, they had some movie posters. I thought these was pretty cool, but you know, I got rid of a lot of movie posters, and I just don't have no room for them. They only had a little room back there. They had some more stairs here. I wandered down a little bit to check it out, and I'm glad she didn't go because there's just a little hallway of mainly furniture and stuff. And I would, like I said, I had to carry her back upstairs. Even though there's a back door, they don't use that back door. These were pretty cool, the pop shop. I was just looking at some glassware, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, everything else in between. I actually used to have a few bottles of that stuff back in the day too. Walked back over this way to look at some books and stuff. Not much of nothing else. Some more glassware and stuff. But I always never know what you can find. And so more Coke stuff, of course. And we decided to go back upstairs. See them stairs? Yeah, I would have had to carry her upstairs for sure doing that. But did find some more tapes here. And look at that. Lethal Weapon 2 sealed. Yeah, $5. Maybe cheaper if it wasn't sealed, but it is sealed. So I think I'm going to have to grab that. Yeah. Add to my tape collection, my soundtrack collection more than anything. But, and then check out some other Coke stuff here, and that's pretty cool. That's like stamps or something. I don't know. Now, these I would have loved to bought. They were $16 a piece after tax. But there was just too many of them. And they're on card. And I don't know if I really want them on card. I'd rather have them loose. But I put them back. It would have been like $60, $70. And I'm glad I did because we had to spend some more money on gas and food and even the doctors. And there's Rousey looking at some salt and pepper shakers that's way overpriced too. They were $10 a piece, and they're ones that we usually find at Cracker Barrel for $1 a piece, and she's pointing that out. Crazy, crazy stuff. But old Frank at the end here, little bank, Frank the Bank made an appearance. I thought he was pretty cool and stuff. I had to check that out. And then I found a few more cassettes, but mainly country, bluegrass, some records, some guitars, all that cool stuff in between. Let's go back to the shed and show you what I found at the antique store. Yeah, this is the next day, and I'm heading to the shed to show you what I got from the antique place that I went to in Mount Airy, North Carolina. I did pick up this Bruce Wayne figure. I think it's made by Kenner from back in the days. Only $3. I said, why not? I don't have a whole lot of Batman stuff. I do have another Bruce Wayne, but not like this. For my soundtrack collection, yes, I found Lethal Weapon 2, $5. I would have probably not paid as much, but still sealed, so you can't beat that. And last but not least, I got a $5 turtle JT. Yeah, check him out. Never seen this one before. It's got a little bunny coming out. Ooh, look. He just jumped back down in there. How does he come out? Oh, there it is. You do that right there. Pops out. Sorry for the damn traffic. Gotta love big trucks. But anyway, he pops out there. The red one is Ralph. I can't remember half the time these colors. But I know orange is Michelangelo. That's the only one I really know the biggest. I think this is Ralph though. But anyway, yeah, didn't get a whole lot. $5, $3, another $5. Didn't spend much. But I definitely would like to go back there again. They had some weird prices on their turtles and stuff. Some of them was like 10, 12, 15. Just weird, but I picked the cheapest one I could find, and this one was it. $5 right here. So I ain't got the lights on or anything in here right now, but I will have to put them into the collection here in a little bit. I got a lot of stuff going on today. Editing videos and putting up other videos and stuff. So time you see this, it'll be a few days later. But anyway, this is Movie John. And I'm always getting some kind of haul.